Good evening, Nick. It's Friday, April 3rd, and today's video comes to you in two parts. Part 1 is Black Magic. Nick, as you said in your video, you uploaded this on April 2nd, or you thought it was April 2nd by the time I was going to get it, but I know you uploaded your video at like 12:41 because I was awake and I was looking for your video, but YouTube still says you uploaded it on the 1st, and that is weird. Like, I just kind of assumed that YouTube would be able to, track time or something. And judging by your background, I assume that you're doing it in your apartment. I know those bookshelves are yours, which means I know you're in the Eastern time zone, which means you had to be in the same time zone as me, because I know you uploaded it late, but it's bothering me because YouTube can't figure out what day it is. Needless to say, it's bothering me a lot more than it should be. I don't know why, but it really just is. Part 2 is creation and destruction. So Nick, if I understand the gist of your last video, it's basically that everything can be used for good and for bad, creation or destruction, and basically everything is just up to the way people end up ultimately using it, or whatever basically ends up ultimately using it. We don't have to always be so human-centric sometimes, I guess. Like, the sun is just an ongoing fusion reaction of billions upon billions upon billions of explosions, and we think of explosions as destruction, but at the same time, if it weren't for the sun doing all of those billions and billions of explosions, life just simply wouldn't exist. Like, it's almost like the universe is kind of indifferent towards us. We don't always like that, but we always think there's some good things in this universe. But the universe is just a bunch of ongoing chemical and energy reactions, and there's nothing really inherently good or bad about them. But we have our biases towards things that we want. Like, we want life to be pleasurable and nice, and to have like certain expectations so that things are a little bit simpler. But then ultimately, the universe doesn't care, and sometimes that's kind of hurtful. And so, like, I cast aspersions on the internet among other things because they don't live up to my expectations, even though like my expectations have no true place. That got really dark really quick. And now I'm having an existential crisis. Good job, Dylan. Good job. Yeah, well, I guess, the universe goes on, I go on. There's still interesting things to do, even if they don't necessarily line up with, like, what I want them to do. And sometimes I guess that's good enough. Existing kinda sweet. Beats the alternative, I suppose. Although, if I didn't exist, then I would not have that bias towards existence, because non-existence can't. Yeah. And this is exactly what happens when you get a little too meta about stuff, and it's kind of proving my own point as to why I don't like some of the power vacuums left in the mind by the internet. But that's okay, because at least I have a chance to think about them, and I can think through them, and then there's people like you, Nick, that I'm able to think them through. And now I'm feeling a lot better, because I realize that even though life doesn't always exist how I want it to, at least I exist with people that I like. And that's good enough for me. Anyways, I'll see you on Monday.